Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Louis and this is Road Productions. Welcome back. But if this is your first time, you know what to do. All right, without any further ado, let's get into these articles and news I have for you guys today. So let's look at these markets real quick. Bitcoin's in at 78,000, Ethereum at 2,300, 2329 to be exact, XRP at 142, BNB 636. If you want to see the rest of these coins down here, pause it. All right, moving into the first article I have for you guys today. So U.S. military runs Bitcoin node, sees crypto as a power projection versus China. Okay, next on the list we have Bitcoin tested 78,000 resistance as short squeeze risk mount, altcoins rally. Next is 145 billion math why Bitcoin's quantum threat is manageable, not existential. Then we have Bitcoin bullish momentum runs into Pentagon back inflation warning. Okay, and then we're going to cover this is from a couple of days ago, all right, from the 21st. But Justin Sun sues World Liberty Finance over token lockup. Okay, and I think this has something to do with the big people fighting each other, but we'll cover it because, as you guys can see down here, Tron is working with MasterCard, but we will cover that coming up next. Let's get into this. So the first thing I have for you guys today is the U.S. military runs Bitcoin node, sees crypto as a power projection versus China. Okay, I don't want to cover this too much, but you know, Bitcoin was created to get away from governments and big institutions and stuff like that and give us the freedom of transaction and a level playing field back in the day. Like, if you know anything about Bitcoin and why it was created, it's not standing up to why it was created, and that makes you start to question things. I love how they have this gold here. It's just not gold. Okay, but basically this article explains, instead of me ranting, the disclosure of the The disclosure is notable because Bitcoin is designed to resist control by powerful governments. Yet a U.S. combatant command is now directly participating in the peer-to-peer network. And basically, they're stating that the tool is being used for cybersecurity, and basically that's it. The node is not being used to mine Bitcoin, but to monitor activity and run operational tests on securing and protecting networks using the Bitcoin protocol. So, you know, it's getting crazy now, especially with the rest of these articles we're going to cover. Be careful with some of these things you're getting into. Remember, the articles will be dropped down below so you can read them for yourself, go through them, call me on BS if you want to. But at the end of the day, this is getting very crazy, and you have to do your research and understand what you're investing in. If you don't know what you're doing, talk to a professional. Don't take nothing I say here as like financial advice. Okay, moving on. Okay, Bitcoin tests 78,000 resistance as short squeeze risk mount, altcoins rally. So like I said, the 78 level is very important because basically there's about 180 million liquidations at stake, while altcoins and mean surge risk on sentiment return. So basically when these levels crack off or hit, some of this bleeds into the altcoins because people diversify, they won, you know what I mean, some people lost. But basically Bitcoin is battling the 78,000 resistance, and as you can see here, it's at 78,457. This is live. So basically, there's a key level, like we were saying, 180 million in short liquidations above the 78 million in long risk, below the 77,300. So basically, if you're a market maker, you're gonna take this over this any day. Anybody would take this over this any day. My point being is it's highly manipulated, and if you're trying to get in now with your few dollars, be careful. Okay, don't over leverage yourself, only invest what you can. All right, moving on. So basically this goes more into the fears of like quantum computing and the early wallets of Bitcoin, so like the Satoshi wallets and all those that were created in the beginning. But there's been a discussion as of lately what to do with these things once we get the computing power to do it. I don't understand this chart completely. This is past me. I guess it's the 90-day sum, and this is a key level, and it talks about the 107 million that sits at this level. I guess not at this level, but it keeps it like right here. Like this is a very key level, and you can unlock this and bring it in. As you can see here, the bears and the bull demand. So it wants to go higher, you get me, but it can't because there's Bitcoin that's not being used as volume, it's just being held. But basically, the real debate is not a market collapse of whether Bitcoin should preserve strict property rights or intervene to freeze coins at risk. Okay, so basically, once a quantum computing comes and is able to get these coins, like then becomes the question: do you freeze the coins, or do you intervene? You know what I mean? Do you do something that prohibits people from touching these coins because they're private property? You know, so there is a question of that, but as quantum computing and AI gets better, this is going to be more of a conversation. Okay, people are already talking about it now, and you know, they suggest that even the worst case sell-off would be large but not catastrophic. But then we have Tether pumping up the market as well. Like I said, very sticky situation. Okay, moving on. Bitcoin bullish momentum runs into Pentagon-backed inflation warning. Okay, so with the oil and everything that's been happening with the war, Bitcoin's latest push towards 80,000 stalled as rising oil prices, driven by risk around the Strait of Hormuz, tightened financial conditions and stoked inflation concerns. So we covered the other day about the Strait of Hormuz and how people are scamming people trying to get through there and how they're accepting only Bitcoin and USDT. So like I said, this market is pumped up. If you know anything about gold and silver and precious metal, there's a lot of paper of these things. There's no real assets backed. I forgot what the ratio is, but it's kind of crazy. The ratio for gold is not as much as there's really out there. So there's a lot of paper trading, and I think that's what's kind of happening with this market and Bitcoin and everything. Not just Bitcoin's involved, because you got to understand, once you get some profit from Bitcoin, you put it into other assets. So the whole market right now is inflated by these metrics and stuff like that. All right, so you know, only do what your risk allows. Okay, so rising energy costs and higher government bond yields are weighing on the risk asset. Even the US listed spot Bitcoin ETFs log their shortest week of inflows in a month. So you guys have to understand a lot's happening, and if things continue or get harder, people can start pulling their money out. If things get better, people can start pulling their money out. You know what I mean? So it can go either way depending on what these market makers want to do. You get me? All right, moving on. So this is, I think, is important because I'm invested in World Liberty. I'm invested in Tron. I love both of them, but you can see that this is a big big battle right now. But Justin Sun sues World Liberty Finance token for their token lockup. This man right now is just doing great things. You get me? You don't have to like him personally, but he is doing great things. I personally don't have an opinion about him, but like his stance on what he's doing, you know, he has his own coin, but he's still investing in like the you know, competitions, you know what I mean? So basically, I'm gonna go to here right here, but basically Tron has handled USD 22 billion daily and USD 85 billion in USD Tether. So they use Tether, but you know, Tron is AI driven in its transactions. They work with MasterCard and they have a product design. But basically, Tron is doing very well, and I think, where was it? They don't work in America basically, but MasterCard works all over the world. I think it's Korea. I'm not sure. I have to get those details for you in the next episode. But basically, the Tron Foundation is partnered with another big country. So this could be something to look at and invest in. Remember, always do your own research. Here's Tron right here, sitting at 32 cents. So you never know. Only a 32 billion market cap. Okay. So remember, don't get caught up in the politics of this stuff. Always do your own research and trust yourself. Don't trust no one else when it comes to the news and the market and stuff. Like, you can listen to other people, take their advice, but at the end of the day, sit with yourself, take notes, understand what you can and can't risk, and trust me, you're still early in this market. Go watch our last episode and see what we were talking about there and how they're gonna push this deadline down the way for the Clarity Act, okay? And the best thing to do is just sit tight, get your popcorn ready, because we haven't seen nothing yet. Again, my name is Louis. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Until next time. Peace.